Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to tell you about this podcast. It's called The DK Project, but it's really The Darren Show. The DK Project is a radio show, but without the radio. So sit back, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
Let's go! It's that time again, sports fans. Not even sports fans, all fans. We don't want to discriminate. Amen. Welcome to the DK Project. Episode 82. Woo. Kicking it old school. Mr. Terry P's back in the house, and we are going down some rabbit holes that we didn't know we were going down. I thought we'd bring the cast along for the little adventure, get a little deeper in the rabbit hole. It's late on a Friday after work, and we're doing the deep dive. How are you, sir?
Very good, thank you, sir.
We're working on Terry's greeting because he just likes to get right into it. I don't want to cut all the small talk. Let's just dive right into it.
All right, I'll open this one up in a more cordial fashion.
Oh, all right.
Here's an old saying I just made up. With friends like me, who needs enemas? And on that setup, I have to admit, in all our authenticity, the D and the T of the DK show, I brought in a few bottles of Modelo. So
you haven't gotten very far.
I'm not my first one. But I told him, Rogan smokes weed and we're going to have a beer. So that's what we got going on. And I just had to say that. And so I'm taking him down a slippery slope. He hasn't had a drink in how long?
Oh, God.
Be honest.
It's in June, July, it'll be 5 years.
So
5 years.
With friends like me, who needs enemas?
Yeah, exactly.
I rest my case.
Hello, Satan. Hello, Satan. By the way, I'm going to need a ride home.
Get me behind you, Satan.
I don't know about the beer, but the Fireball's pretty good.
Well, I guess in full disclosure, I brought a very small bottle of
small.
Yeah,
very Traveler.
Small.
The Traveler.
It was actually a half a Traveler.
Up. That's all right. So anyway, what do we got on the docket today? What's the latest, greatest, man? Hey, I wanted to ask you about something, and I forgot what it was.
I know what it was, because you've been trying to ask me it since my very first minute I sat in this chair.
Do tell. What was it?
Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, yeah, there's a Jimmy Buffett. That is what I was thinking of. But
that wasn't it?
No, we'll take that, though. What do you got?
You've been trying to ask me that for hours and hours.
You know what I thought of Jimmy Buffett the other day? Because there was a, he has that plane, the Hemisphere Dancer. It's a,
he's a pilot?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was going to be all smart about it.
Look it up. I got
a Googler.
Did you know I was a pilot?
No.
I got to solo, and then the FAA didn't like the meds I take because I'm an old man.
Oh, so this is recent?
Yeah, I got to fly, take off, do tons of landings by myself, tip my wings to the neighborhood and all that.
Well, so I'm in Excelsior the other day, and there's a plane flying over, and it was just, I don't want to be all weird about it, but it was just beautiful the way it was flying, and it was a unique plane. It wasn't like the normal ones, like a normal seaplane. They're very unique. It's called a Grumman Albatross.
It flies out of Anoka. He flew out on here. It's blue, blue.
Yeah. And it just goes through the air so beautifully.
They're gorgeous.
And I'm like, that's exactly what Jimmy Buffett flies. That's his plane's called the Hemisphere Dancer. I think he decommissioned it now, but
so did
maybe
he fly
the
it himself?
Could call him. Huh?
Yeah. Did he fly it?
Yeah. I think he did. Probably not all the time, but those land in the water.
Yep.
On the belly.
Yep.
And I didn't see this one here. Land, but
do you know at the last year's Oshkosh show, one of those flipped over because some guy was, the waves were big, and he caught it crosswind with the waves catching it from the side. It flipped over and they died.
A Grumman Albatross.
Yep.
Have you ever been or heard of a flight show? What do they call that? Air show?
The Oshkosh one?
Where someone hasn't died. They're the most dangerous thing you can attend.
It's like that. My old saying I love to say is, people hardly ever die here. Whenever you're doing something, you see somebody go, People however they ever die when we do this. And then people always give you that look.
Hold my beer.
Except for the one time, then you say. You got to have the right pause.
The one time this week.
Yeah.
You got to have the right break in there. So what's your Jimmy Buffett story?
All right. Going back to the first time, Tom must have said, ask him this question or something.
I do have a list of Tom's stuff.
So we were in New Orleans at a regular season game, and I was doing balls, as they say, which sounds like a drinking game, but it isn't.
Say that.
That just means you're the ball boy.
Yeah, I was doing some balls.
That's right. So I was a ball boy, and when you do a ball boy,
that's why nobody wants to share a room with you when you're on the road.
Are you the guy who does balls? Yeah.
I've heard about you.
So you start on one side of the field, and then at half you switch. So I'm on this side. I'm on the Saints side.
Oh.
And someone said, "Hey, did you see Jimmy Buffett over there?" And I'm like, "Where's Jimmy Buffett?" Last time I saw him on an album, he was like 30-some years old, and and I also thought he was tall. And he's this little short guy, and he has no hair, and he wears a baseball hat.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, which one's Jimmy? And they go, that guy. So I walked up to him and I said, hey, at least you're not in North Dakota in a freaking trailer. And he goes, huh? Because there's that song, At Least I Don't Live in a Trailer. And he goes, what? And I said, it's your song, man. And he goes, oh, yeah. And so we yucked it up the whole game. And Bryan Cranston was standing next to us, and I should have talked to him, but we had so much fun.
What are these guys doing on the sidelines of a football game?
Because the head coach of the Saints is their buddy, and he's like a celebrity guy who loves celebrities, so he lets him down there.
Oh.
So,
and you like the Saints coach?
Well, there goes the story.
Oh,
so
let's stick to the Jimmy Buffett story.
No, he's just funny. He's a very good guy.
Did you get his number?
No.
Can we dial him up?
No, I didn't get his number. I don't want his number.
What's your favorite Jimmy Buffett song?
The one where he's been a fan of the ocean since he was 3 feet tall. That one.
Terry is thinking of the Jimmy Buffett classic A Pirate Looks at 40.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great song. So I kept going over them. He's just got a good sense of humor, and we were just having fun. And there's just a lot of fun people. Like there was Tool Time Tim was once in Detroit, and we just had the greatest time. He's
an animal, isn't he?
He is the funniest. He's a 7th grader. Here's an inappropriate thing I did. So I was a ball boy there too at the time, and I had 2 balls, and I went up to him, and we'd been goofing around a lot before that. And I said, hey man, I don't usually say this to guys, but you can touch my balls. And so his wife's standing next to him, and she just rolls her eyes, and he's like, oh. That's his real laugh. And so
I heard he's kind of a dink.
No, he's the nicest guy ever. He's funny. He was driving his teenage kids nuts, just like a dad would. He's just
They were all on the field?
Yeah. He's just a normal person. But Warren Buffett was down there once too, and he was absolutely phenomenal. He pulled you in like I've never met anyone like him. I met Kurt Carlson back years ago in the Super Bowl, and Kurt grabbed me and said, what's your name? Where do you live? What do you do? He wouldn't let me go. He had me for 10 minutes asking me questions. I'm thinking, what? I just went up to him to say, hey, thanks for bringing the Super Bowl here, and him and his daughter. And so I heard he was a terrible one to work for, but man, was he a salesman. So
really?
Whether Warren was that too, but Warren was friends with big Samoan guy, and he came and he had his jersey on, but Warren was the sweetest human being you could ever imagine. Just a kind-hearted, very slow, never in a hurry.
Really?
Just like he was fully retired, for 15 years, and you'd never know he was the power that he was. So, but anyone who gave away 40 of his 44 billion and then regained it to 70 billion, he gets it. There was an article that he said his wife was supposed to give it away, but then she died early. And he said, the thing about wealth is it was always meant to give back to society. He said, I always believe that. He said, when we were in college, I said to my honey, I'm going to be rich someday. And she said, that's nice, dear. She didn't believe me, he said. Well, it turned out that he had this gift. He said, I have a gift. And turned out he did. But he said, I always thought the money you make, you give back to society, but you get to give it back on your terms based on your principles. And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And he said, he actually gave it to the Gates Foundation. He said, honestly, I don't align with their foundation, but I'm close enough. And he said, do you know how much work it is to give away that kind of money? They have a staff of 8 people that have been working on this thing for 15 years to set up that foundation. He said, so I wasn't about to go down that road.
Really?
So I just gave it to them and said, do what you want with it. So that's how so isn't that a fabulous story?
That's interesting because you wouldn't think that. But I guess anytime you move any large sums of money anywhere, that's scrutinized greatly because they want to know. But I mean, you're Warren Buffett. You should be able to do what you want, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's way cooler than Elon Musk, in case you're wondering.
You don't know that. You've never met Elon Musk. Never.
I'm just saying, you got this little incense shrine burning here with Elon Musk as we have this. I just had to throw that in there.
The Musk.
So no,
Elon.
so when we get there,
who's the coolest person you met on the sidelines?
Coolest person I met on the sidelines. I'll tell you one I really enjoyed, and it's more of a story about human beings, and that's why I enjoyed it. The lead singer for Boston was down there, and he had these 2 bodyguards. And they were great guys. They still text me, but he was like, I sat him down. I said, hey, I got to ask you something. I said, you need to write a book. He's like, that's what they got. A ghostwriter wants me to do it. He said, they want me to do a movie of my life on the Hallmark Channel. I said, nah, don't do a movie. That's just fake. Write the book.
Hallmark Channel.
Don't you believe that? Sensationalized Hollywood.
Gay there.
Exactly. So I said, when did you start believing you had talent? He said, actually, I didn't. My brother had all the talent. I didn't have anything. I didn't think I'd amount to anything. I said, but here's the thing. You were given a gift to sing that range. Everyone wants to sing that range, that tenor range that rock and rollers do. No one can, but a few people. You got Led Zeppelin and you got, you know what I mean? They hit it. But he could.
Hold that thought. Here's my question.
Says the voiceover guy.
Oh, I'm not questioning that. My question to you is this. I'm on the sidelines. I'm playing with my balls because I'm waiting for them to...
Your hands are cold.
Want me to throw a ball in.
Yeah.
I look over to my right. I look over to my left. How do I know that's the lead singer from Boston?
Because everyone was going up saying hi. And
does he wear a fucking Boston t-shirt?
No.
One t-shirt that every Boston fan wears. They have one
with the ship and the fire underneath it.
Yeah, like they only made one t-shirt. You look over like, hey, man, that's got to be the lead singer from Boston. Otherwise,
no, he was very nondescript.
Was he walking around singing that one song that you always hear?
Yeah, but everyone went up to him and said, hey, he had a concert in town. We were in Carolina or someplace, and he came to town. They had a concert.
But he was cool, huh?
But my point about him wasn't he was cool or anything, but I said, you didn't believe in yourself. Do you hear what you're saying? He's like, yeah. So I said, you need to get the story out because there are, how many musicians? My son's a musician and he's music major. He's a music therapist now. So do you know how many musicians don't believe in themselves? But they need to hear your story so they take that big step. And you know how many radio guys, voice coaches that need to take that next step?
That's the biggest challenge.
Amen.
Is believing in yourself.
Yep. So I said, you got to get the book out. So I don't know if you ever got the book out, but I was so inspired.
What book?
His life story.
Oh, to write one.
Yeah. So I was so inspired by the humanness of it and how I believe that we're all the same. We all need the same. Some people are able to press into their fears, maybe because they weren't as wounded as much, or maybe there's some personality thing. But everyone needs the encouragement more than anything. They need encouragement. And there's a great speech. Do you ever see Teddy Roosevelt's speech from the DARE speech?
Of course.
Amen. That's the speech I'm talking about. That's the belief that people need to live by. Is dare versus not to dare and live with those gray souls who know neither the victory nor defeat. If you fall on your face, Teddy Roosevelt was a rich industrialist kid.
Teddy.
He was from Ohio and he inherited a gob of money, but his dream, because he was a very unhealthy child, he had respiratory issues and all this, so they didn't let him do much, but he was a naturalist. So his dream was to have a ranch. So he took this wealth and he went to South Dakota, lost it all. And so the DARE speech came from the fact that, you know what? You'll feel better if you try and fail than if you never tried at all.
Boom.
Up goes the arm. So he went back to New York, became the mayor, became the president, and hence but he rebuilt from ashes. And so he knows that speech is not about, someone else. It's a story from his experience. So that's why I like those stories, is they encourage. And
the lead singer from Boston made you think of that?
Yeah, I was sitting there with him, and we were on the bench talking for like an hour, and pregame, and I said, "Man, do you realize your story needs to get out?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm realizing that." And so,
did you know a lot about him before you?
Never, no. When in the 70s, I listened to Boston. That's all I knew about Boston. I hadn't listened to them in years. I really don't go back to the 70s music. If it comes on, I like it, but I'm not one of those guys.
Keep trying to get that A track in your
I wore them out.
Doesn't work. Doesn't work. That's funny you say that. I guess I didn't know that there were so many debutantes on the side of the field while the football's going on. I'm so focused on the game.
You're so focused on the game. Yeah.
I don't have time to look for I don't know. Is it even appealing to be on the sidelines to watch the game?
Very, because of the speed, yeah.
But I mean, you can't, like, when you're top of the lower deck, you can, like, see the whole.
No, that's a different experience.
Really?
I've sat in the front row, and it was like you're on another planet. When you're on the sidelines, the D-back coach is with his guys. They're ignoring what's on the field. The quarterback coach, the line coach, the receivers coach, the on and on and on. Every position coach has their guys huddled up, and they ignore the game, and they're thinking about what they can do next time they're out there. And yeah, their head will turn up if they hear the crowd roar once in a while. But if it's really bad, they don't even look up then. If someone gets hurt, they don't even look at the guy, because they're in the game. They got to win this thing. It's the intensity. So when you're down there, you're so amazed at how many positions and how many things are going on at once. It's like a dance, and yet there's a lot of luck. A guy falls down, he gets tripped, and it's an interception, and the game goes the other way. Favre gets a high-low, poor guy, in New Orleans when we were 19 seconds from the Super Bowl, and I came out the locker room. They set up this post-game show, and it was across the hallway, and I came out, and they had the luxury suites coming through there, and I said, "You better stop these people," because they were getting in my face, heckling me. We had all our Vikings stuff on, and I said, "I'm ready to punch one of them. If Favre comes out here, he will punch one of them. So you got to shut this hall down, because Favre's coming across there to do his post game. Normally they do the post game interview there, but because it was such a big NFC Championship game, they take this big storage room and set up curtains and made this large media acceptance." So he goes off, and his wife was even back. I said, "No, that's Diane. She can come in." Well, he goes across there and comes back, beat up, bruised all over the place. And I had a golf cart, because we had a player that, I think in Arizona, he got his femur shattered. And it was in Arizona, I think, back then. And he was on the bus. And so I got a cart to get him back to the locker room to be part of the end of the game thing. And I had a cart. I had a key for a golf cart. And I said, "Hey, Brett, I got a golf cart, because in New Orleans, you got to walk all the way across the field to get to the buses." I said, I can get you, you don't have to walk." He goes, "Can I cut across the field?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I'll walk." And he just hobbled across the field. That guy was so tough.
Was that for publicity?
No, it's just because he's just tough, man. I'd like to say it's something else, but no one saw him. No one's there. It's just, there's no one there watching him go across. There's no cameras, nothing. He was just a tough human being. So
that's what you were saying before. He's a different animal.
He's just amazing that way. So anyway, going back, your question on the sidelines and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a fast game, but
hey, wait a minute. Is that the lead singer from Boston?
you wouldn't recognize him. You wouldn't recognize. All of a sudden, the Vikings photographer sends me a picture of me talking to Jimmy Buffett. We're laughing. And I go, "How'd you know he was Jimmy Buffett?" I didn't know he was Jimmy. Some people told me. So he's all the way across the field with his long lens, and he takes his picture, and he gives it to me later. And
he's got a parrot on his head?
Yeah, that's it. And so anyway, so the head coach for the Saints was notorious. He's a brilliant guy, but tortured. And
what does that mean?
That's a really hard one for me to articulate because I want to say all nice things. Well, anyway.
We don't have to say all nice things.
Well,
we don't have no filter.
He was known as an asshole. So they all came up to me. They warned us because when you're doing balls.
Is that young guy?
Well, I don't know how young he is. He's about your age. But
you can't say when you're doing balls.
I threw that in because you said. So when the line of scrimmage moves through the bench area, you got to be at the line of scrimmage because when the official says ball, 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 see, there comes the term. You have to pitch him a ball. And so you don't, they told.
You have to go all underhand, right?
Yeah. So you got to step out in front of the players or thread through the players this ball to the official and then get off the field. And ideally, if you could stay on the sidelines, but when they change lines and the guys are crossing you, you gotta get around them and get a clear shot so the official can see the ball. And you throw the ball, and you get off. And so they said, try and stay out of the bench area because our coach is a real dick, but we know you got to be there. So we don't listen to that because who do we want to win? We want us to win,
right?
And if the officials give you a speech before the game, you're part of the officiating crew. If you delay getting a ball and the clock is still running on the game, which ultimately means if you had possession, you could lose the game. So when we say ball, do whatever you can, get us a ball because you're affecting the outcome of the game. We go, okay, get it.
Whoa.
And they said, if any coach gives you trouble, I don't care if it's a head coach, you let us know, we'll put him in his place. So we know that because we've been doing this for plenty of times. So I know my power is to tell the head coach to shut up and get the hell out of here. So I see Peyton go that way, and I step out, and there's a line change. I throw the ball, and he's moving away from me, and he always held his clipboard or holds his clipboard straight up behind him. And somehow he turned around as I'm backing back off the field. I didn't turn around, I just backed off because you go out quick. I felt something just slightly nick me. And I looked down, it was his clipboard, but it was sticking straight out, 16 inches behind him. He spins around, he says, "Hey, who are you with?" I said, "Minnesota." He goes, "I thought so." And he goes, "You can't be in the bench area." I said, I just stood there staring at him. I'm sitting here with gray hair staring at him thinking, I know. I can say, "Come here, get this dog off me." So I'm standing there. I'm just standing there staring at him with this disappointing look in my face. And he keeps screaming. And finally he goes, "That's what they do to us in other cities." And finally I say, "They shouldn't be doing that to you in other cities, coach." He goes, "Yeah, that's what they do." And then he walks away. And I walk away 5 feet from him, and 5 or more guys from their sidelines swarm me and say, "We told you he was an asshole. We're so sorry. We're so sorry." They're very nice. And I said, "It wasn't that bad. It was kind of fun, actually." And I went over to Jimmy and said, "Man, your boy really bitch slapped me or something." And I just rode Jimmy because he's like, I said, "What are you doing here anyway?" He played a casino, and he's like, "I bled black and gold since I was a little kid." So I rode him. But the interesting thing is then it gets weirder. So the rest of the game.
No way.
Yes, way. The rest of the game, the Vikings are winning. And the whole second half, guess who's walking down the middle of the bench and spins around and stares at me, especially when I was talking to Jimmy, was their head coach who should have been in the game watching to get his team to win.
You got us that win.
Yes, because I was like a Seinfeld episode.
Yes.
He kept staring at me, and I just stared right back at him.
He just kept yelling, "No soup for you."
No soup for you.
They that's interesting that there's like he's wasting his time worrying about what you're doing.
That's what really, when I say tortured, OCD, whatever it is, his thing is
he's not that old.
He's so smart he needs like a second game during the game. Well, I was his second game.
Oh, really?
And yeah, he's smart as heck. But
damn it. What is it? Sean is his name. Right? Yep. Let's just check that out.
So Elon Musk is your god. Is that what you said?
No. So
what's this rug on the floor that you get down and kneel on every 15 minutes facing this Elon Musk picture?
Oh, he's 56. He's no spring chicken. A la Elon. No. That was one thing I brought up. I don't know anything about the cat.
Yeah, except you worship him.
No, I worship the dude.
Fella I want to tell you about. Fella by the name of Jeff Lebowski. At least that was the handle his loving parents gave him. But he never had much use for it himself. This Lebowski, he called himself the Dude. Now, Dude, that's a name no one would self-apply where I come from. But then there was a lot about the Dude that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Dude, this dude or that dude. These are my people. I didn't, I don't know. I just, that was one podcast, but, so what's your favorite stadium to go to in the NFL then?
Ooh, good question. Ours, I'll tell you this, being at all of them is the coolest. It's the nicest.
What's the newest?
Ours is well, no, Atlanta, and Atlanta's isn't as nice as ours.
Is that the Mercedes one?
Yeah.
Damn.
Second Mercedes. The other Mercedes is in New Orleans. There's two Mercedes.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
But,
I've heard good things about ours.
One of the really cool ones was where USC plays out there at
Come on now.
where they are going to have their third Olympics. No other venue in the globe has had three Olympics. The 1930 something, the 1980 something, and then we've
Is
got
that in
one.
LA?
Yeah, the Coliseum.
You know what? I was just in Barcelona
Cool.
and I went to the Olympic Village there because they had the Olympics in 92, maybe. And it's both very impressive and very sad all in the same place.
What's the sadness?
It's just sitting there.
Well, go to Atlanta. Look how long ago that was. It's still there's
just
still
sitting.
Olympic Park there.
It's so weird.
What
Why-
year did Atlanta have theirs? That's a big focal point of their downtown
I
yet.
have no idea.
90s.
That was the
maybe?
Richard Jewell situation. Have you seen that movie?
I have not.
It was massive. And I could only imagine when all the people were there. They had the 96 Olympics.
96.
Yeah. I was blown away. It was pretty awesome to see, but just weird that it just sits there. It's just so dumb. Really a waste of resources. Hey, you know what? Jumping back to an earlier podcast that we did, I got a note in from a listener that we need to know more about this torn whatever the hell it was in your arm. That
Bicep.
overly graphic description you gave us of how they put it back together, but we never heard how it came apart. Is there a story behind that?
No, not much of one, but the Lions traveled with
Good
this.
pre-sell.
Yeah, I downsailed that. The Lions used to travel with this rock. It was called the Rock. That's how-
Like an actual rock?
It was a 600-pound rock that I thought it was such a negative statement. They had on there, not good enough yet, I think is what it said. And that they were supposed to, all the players when they came out of the locker room were supposed to touch it. And it just didn't make sense to have, that's the opposite of Pete Carroll. Let's just, reverse psychology, whatever it was. Well, that's all it was we were moving that beast and my bicep tore off. So it's
You were moving the rock.
the rock.
They bring it with them?
They took it everywhere. Everyone hated it. So
And you moved it manually.
and all over the country, people say, "Remember that rock? There was a guy who tore his bicep on it."
Dumb son of a bitch.
Yeah, you'll be in Dallas, you'll be in San Diego, and they'll talk about it. And I go, yeah. That's
Do they
me.
still do it?
They still talk. No, they got rid of that rock.
A rock.
A rock.
Not like Dwayne Johnson, like an actual
It was a boulder.
boulder from the
They had a
earth.
trunk made for a boulder.
Were you trying to pick it up by yourself?
No, it was
Tough guy special?
I could have, but no.
Of course.
No, it was just that. So no.
That I was not aware of the rock from the Lion's Den.
Yeah, no one really talked about that. And some teams have a banner they'll put or a sticker they put over the door and they all touch it. And every coach has to have a dynamic that tries to motivate guys because, the interesting thing is it doesn't always work, right? The Lions had a terrible season that year, actually multiple years. And
Like we're sick of moving this fucking rock
I know.
around.
And no one touched it. I remember Andy Reid, he seems kind of almost docile, you see him. But if you heard his pregame and halftime speeches and postgame, he jumps up and down. He's a big fella, and he screams with his highest pitched voice. He sounds like a high school coach. Just
he's at the Chiefs now, right?
Yeah, and look what happens. They're a dang good team everywhere he goes, and it's tragic though. The time they commit, his son was, actually, didn't his son die? He overdosed.
I don't remember.
Committed suicide. So the time commitment is so brutal on those guys.
Oh, I could only imagine. Hardcore.
And then because
you traveled with the Chiefs for a while, right?
Yeah, and his protege, that was way before Andy.
That was way before Andy.
Andy was at Philly.
Yeah.
And it's just unbelievable.
Now you're not a native Minnesotan, are you?
No, from Wisconsin.
You're a recovering Packer fan.
For 10 years, I told the Vikings, I'm from Wisconsin. Then I ended up becoming very much a
getting
Viking
beat
fan.
up a lot.
No, I think it's good sport to heckle each other. I go home, I really give them heck, and they give me more.
Do you go to when you go to the Packer games? Do you know people in the organization there?
Oh yeah.
Oh really? Did you work for them then?
No. I just know. They were friends with people from my hometown, and they're small town people. And
I loved going to Lambeau. I went there once for a game. Cold, super cold.
Yeah, I remember once
we started drinksing on Friday.
So do you know where? So everyone drinks, right? So I said, I got two on that. One's a urination thing for players that we'll go back to.
Urination.
Yeah, let's forget that. So I look at the bench, and they have the benches with the painted lines and then a painted number. They don't have seats, right? Just a straight bench.
Yeah.
So I was looking at that, and it was way pregame, and there were no one sitting in them, and there was a cop there, and I said, "Man, how wide are those? 19 inches." I said, "Well, I grew up here, and you put a snowmobile suit on half the people I grew up with, they won't fit in 19 inches."
Dude.
I said, "So do they get in fights because they don't fit on the bench? And people fall off?" He said, "Never from that." I said, "What do they fight about?" He said, "Spilling beer on each other. It's the only reason they fight." But they're very polite about not fitting. So now they rent those seats that they bolt on there, and then you have that committed space.
Oh, yeah.
And so they have that.
You know what? I was at a Viking game. A buddy of mine's like, "Hey, I got tickets for the Viking Tampa Bay game. You want to go?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll go,
Got your Depends ready, and
they were way the hell up there. Like I could almost touch the Teflon. No, this was at the Metrodome.
Oh, yeah.
I just saw they're playing all the classic games.
Lambeau didn't have a low seat until they did that addition.
And they did that, they did those classic games, and I watched the Twins game. Boy, that Metrodome was a piece of shit.
I was at the game when
when the
Teflon ripped and it sagged down, and they made us all go in the hallway.
Oh, really?
And all the speakers hung on the cables, but it never touched. Matter of fact, remember when it really broke?
Caved in, yeah.
So we were set up for that game, and an equipment manager called me and said, "Hey, can you get down here? Did you see the news?" I said, "Yeah, I did." And it inverted. And so we already had our locker room set up. So we went down there, and I went out in the stadium, and everything was hanging upside down, and the cables, it sounded like Halloween. They're going, I said, "Man, that puddle up there has got about 30,000 pounds of water. That's going to freeze, and that baby's coming right through here." And sure enough, it came right through there.
That was ugly.
And when it hit that concrete deck, the guys, like that one guy on the video that was driving the cart, he said it sounded like a bomb.
Oh.
We had to go out and get our equipment off the sidelines. I said, "Man, we got to get quick because I don't want to be underneath all that water." It was a puddle the size of a tanker truck just hanging over you on thin Teflon. I said, "I don't like the looks of this." So we got it out on the trucks. They said, "The league doesn't know where we're going, but we're playing somewhere." Well, Indy was open, but we went to Detroit because Detroit had TV set up, and they couldn't set up network fast enough to get the game. So I got a call from the Chiefs who said, "Hey, we're on the tarmac, and the Giants just showed up next to us. Aren't they supposed to be playing you guys?" Because they rerouted them because there was a snowstorm. And I said, "Yeah, it's bad down here, the stadium went upside down. We don't know where we're playing." And so they just let them sit there on the tarmac in Kansas City until the league figured out where we could go. And they said, "Well, we have network set up." And so off we went to Detroit.
Because they played at, the Pontiac Dome or whatever in Detroit, right?
At the Ford Field.
Ford Field, yeah.
We brought our logo, and we took their Their locker room, they were really great people and all, yeah.
God, what a mess. But I was there for the Tampa Bay game, and it was a Monday night.
Yeah?
And we got all the way up to our seats, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
That's when you had your stroke.
Oh, my God, are we up here? The air is so thin. But you're talking about those Packer fans going full throttle. And I'm sitting here on a Monday night, and the season ticket holders who are that close to the Teflon,
Yeah.
those are the real fans.
Amen to that.
Those are the guys
It's like the ant
who
races
live,
down there.
Yeah. But I witnessed a lady get so drunk, she fell down the steps.
That hurts.
On a Monday night.
How many before she stopped? Did she roll half the way?
Half the way. But it's half the way. But it's like those people love the game so much.
And they scream more than you did.
Oh my God. I was like, I didn't even watch the game. I was just watching the shit around me. People like mixing drinks, like they smuggled in a bottle and they're like mixing booze. And I'm like, damn, and I was talking on an earlier cast, this friend that I have who I do, when I was doing the Bob Sansevier show, her name is Sal, and she's diehard. She goes to every game. She'll go to a couple of away games, like fanatical. They tailgate. And I'm like, I'm a fan, but
I gotta give her my number. I gotta see this fan.
I'm there for the snacks, man.
Oh yeah.
But she has a group. There's like 8 of them every game. And they may not sit together. They may, they just get whatever seats they can get, but they're going. And she knows more about football than anybody I met. I'm on that Bob Sansevier show with Bob, and I don't know, they got the Bernie Bomberg on there, and then Sal, and then it was usually someone else would mix in. And she's throwing down stuff that
every day she called in.
Oh no, she came in. She was on the show. Yeah. She was a great addition. I had her on this podcast a little while back. I'll probably have her on again once we get closer to football.
So she's
season.
on air now?
She does, well, I don't know. During the pandemic, Sansevier's working from home.
Okay.
So he's only calling one person at a time. His quality and his, is very low, but it's all him,
Okay.
So it's, I don't know if she's on regularly right now. But I know up until I was on the show until, I don't know, probably a month ago. We do Tuesdays. He does a show every day.
Wow.
All about sports. He does one with, a couple of people from the KQ Morning Show.
That's passion.
Actually, I don't even know if he's still on the KQ Morning Show. They've mixed that thing up so much now. I don't know. I got to put a call into him. But just crazy, crazy fun. I mean, these people who are into this, she is over the top into it. She showed a picture of her Christmas tree at Christmas, and it's all purple with all Vikings ornaments.
What's her day job?
She's working at the Capitol right now. She's got like a real job, but she's it's funny. She'll laugh when she hears I'm talking about her, but she's got all kinds of tattoos, and she's got a big section saved on her arm for the Lombardi Trophy when the Vikings win. Yeah, like she's legit fan. Hard. She actually, and by all means, I don't want to, whatever, but she has a job. Like before she was at the Capitol, she was like I don't know, something to do in the hair and makeup world. But they had that a Saturday game. It was almost like a pre-playoff game or something like that. Like it wasn't on the schedule, and they wouldn't give her the time off from work, so she quit. She's like, I'm not missing the game. This was in my deal. Like, I don't miss football games.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, she's a diehard. Shout out to Sal.
Hey, Sal.
She's great. But yeah, I'll have to get you her info. She's a big fan.
You're gonna witness a miracle right here, right now.
All right, right here, right now.
I'm gonna go back to something that I actually thought of instead of being stuck in the rabbit hole. The urination.
Urination.
Thing.
I have a note here.
Look at that. 2 miracles.
I make notes. I don't know how to spell urination, but I made a note.
Well, it's dyslexic, so it's
urination.
So the thing about football is there's no bathroom on the sidelines.
That's
anywhere
true.
Except one stadium, and that's Minnesota right now. And only on the home side.
Where they have a porta potty down there?
No, we have an actual bathroom.
No way.
And the architects wanted to take it out. They thought that the players should just climb over the fence, the railing to the suite and use theirs. And so that's how architects think. But we were in Green Bay. Remember Doogie, Jeff Dugan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So Doogie comes up to me, and he had played for 9 years or something. And we're in Green Bay, and he goes, I got to take a piss. I said, okay. He's like, where do I go? I said, right here, Doogie. He's like, what? I said, yeah, I'll hold up a towel. He said, a towel? And Green Bay's intimate. You know how close the bench is to the people. I said, yeah, Doogie, or I can run you to the locker room, which is up the stairs and long hallway. And he'd miss the next series and coach would be screaming at him. He knew that. So he's like, okay. So I held up a towel and he's on his knee and he goes, man, is this awkward? I said, don't worry about it, Doogie. There's only 10,000 people watching you piss. And sure enough, he got it done. And he's like, man. So then we were out in Baltimore somewhere, number of years later, like 5-6 years later, and he showed up on a Saturday night when we were setting up the locker room for a Sunday game, and he's like, I said, hey, Doogie, remember that time? He's like, yeah. He said, I was talking to my friend who's a kicker at San Diego when San Diego had a team. This is a couple of years, probably 3-4 years ago, and he got caught on TV, and so
I think I know somebody got caught on TV at some point,
and we were talking about that because here's a billions of dollar business. But there's no bathroom on the sidelines. And if you got to take a doogie, pun intended, then you got to run them off because you're not going to do that in a bucket.
Well, what about these players, though? They're good for the game? They can...
No, think about the concept of athletes and they're expending themselves. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
Yeah.
Every time they come off, we shove a bottle and squirt it in their mouth or hold a cup in front of them until they take it and keep drinking because if they dehydrate, you got to run them to the locker room and they got to do an IV and that takes them out of the game for, 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
God, there's a lot going on.
Oh, it's chaos.
I thought it was just a football game.
It's total organized chaos.
Damn.
And so it's that's, I think, still hilarious to me that we used to use an ice fishing clam, but the league thought that was too ugly, so they asked that to get off the sideline. That you'd go in this little thing on your knee and pee in one of these cups.
Why don't they just give you a porta potty? Come on, and logo it up.
Or they got the big injury tent that you lift up over. They should just let them use that for the bathroom. But the trainers probably don't want to do that. But anyway, it's just insanity. So it's so ironic because here, where they usually pee is right in front of the Gatorade table. And that's where everyone comes to get a cup. Or a lot of players sit down, they drop their helmet on the ground, and they sit on those coolers right there. And that's where we tell them to take a knee, or that's where they choose to take a knee. So one time my daughter comes down because she always wanted to be down, and it's a guy thing. And Sam's down there, and I thought, I'm going to go say hi to Sam. She's running the Gatorade table. And I go over to Sam, and I look to my right there, and I see that big Motorola cart, the $20 million endorsement where they used to, I told you, had 2 phones on a plastic table. Now they have this monstrous trailer where only a few phones are actually active, but there's literally a dozen phones on the trailer because you got to have it big enough where they don't see the word Motorola or whatever they put on it now.
The red phone is for loading and unloading.
That's right. So I look on this thing and it's full of cups, full of piss. Because they wouldn't take a leak in front of the Gatorade because my daughter was there. So they went over to that table and they put it in a cup and they set it on the thing.
Unreal.
So yeah, it
seems so basic.
It's ridiculous.
Give us a bathroom.
Amen.
But the Wilfs came through. The Wilfs put a shit.
Actually, yeah, that's true.
Toilet.
I give credit to them, but Dennis really advocated for it, and
I bet people are using it all the time, right?
Oh yeah, players are in and out of that thing.
Hell yeah. Hey, I got a question for you. I got another note here. Something about the Snake River. What do you know about the Snake River? Where the hell did my note go? Houseboat. Houseboat?
Oh, best vacation you could ever do in your life. Isn't the Snake, but it's the Powell. Lake Powell.
Lake Powell. That's
in Utah, Nevada border. You want the ultimate vacation. It's not cheap, but it's a dream vacation because it's 104, 110 during the day. And the water is an average of 400 feet deep because they flooded the Grand Canyon, the downstream of the Grand Canyon. And it's got calcium carbonate, so it looks like the Caribbean with that aqua color. And you go up these wind tunnels that just sweep back and forth, and they go straight up 100 plus feet. And they go down till it's so tight that your boat just goes clunk on both sides. But then as you wind your way out, so you drop a kid back there on a tube and you take a little speedboat because you drag that with your houseboat and you drag them zigzagging all the way out. You hardly see anybody.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's what's it called?
It's called Lake Powell. So there's Lake Powell and Frog Leap and stuff like that where you can rent these houseboats that are actually owned by the Parks and the federal government, then they give these leases to these houseboat companies to.
So where do you fly into then? Utah?
We went into Phoenix because my sister was there, and then we drove up to Page. You go to Page, you hit the Walmart, and you load up with groceries, and then you go and you fix in. So the desert gets windy in the afternoon. And these houseboats, because I rented houseboats a couple of times in Canada, and it's not as open water as there. And I thought, hey, I'm going to get my money's worth. We're going to come in at 3 o'clock or close to it, because it's a lot of money, and I'm going to bring it in at the last day, and we'll just hang around because you can just kind of let it in neutral and just go down the slide or jump in because the water's bath water.
Yeah.
And then you climb back on the boat and you go. And so we lollygag because I always like to go a couple days upstream and then come back. And so all of a sudden I realized I made a mistake because it was time to return the boat and the wind was howling. And this is a barge. This isn't like a V-hull. It floats sideways as fast as it goes. And I kept missing. I could not get this. It was a 59-foot houseboat. I could not get this thing into the dock. And I thought, man, you got this huge waiver you sign that if I'm going to hit, I'll not only damage mine, but I'll smash that houseboat because you line up and then you start moving sideways.
Yeah.
You think you got to figure it out. You start way over here. And I kept missing.
Got to play the wind.
And I didn't know how. And finally, they said, don't red line the engine. So finally this guy says, hey, you want help? I say, yeah. He's like, pull up. I'll jump on. I'll bring it in. So I back up and he just guns it. He hits the dock so hard that all the boats on this whole long pier are shaking.
There goes the deposit.
Yeah, and I said, man, no, it was him. And I said, man, I think I could have done that. And he goes, yeah, I hit it once so hard. It was like a foot and a half by foot and a half pier. He said, I blew one of those apart.
Really?
like, whoa. So the lesson is get in early when the winds are calm.
I'm going to check it out. I got to go to Phoenix in August.
You go
in August?
Yes. Hotter the better because these things have air conditioning on them, and at night there's no bugs there.
That's
so you sometimes
hot.
we just slept up on the top, but everything has like a Bienemy kind of a cover up on because you get a fly bridge so you can drive up top. It's just you're out of the sun, but you're warm. As soon as you get hot, you put her in neutral or turn it off, and y'all jump in and you climb back on.
You bring the whole crew with you?
The whole crew. It's it's a dream. We went to these cliffs. There's one cliff we went up, and there was a 1,000-year-old village up there from the Native Americans that was undisturbed. They're a little bit restored by it, but basket parts and stuff. I mean, the stuff you see is just unbelievable. So that is the best vacation in the United States.
Damn!
As far as it's considered the best houseboating in the United States and possibly
I'm sure that'll
North
be reflected
America.
in the price.
Well, you can get smaller ones, but you got to book out a year out. But if you're 80 like me, you book out 2 weeks out, then you get stuck with the 59.5 footers.
That sounds about where I'm at. Well, I got to go drop the kid off at college. Maybe we go a little early.
Yeah. St. Thomas?
No.
Where's your kid's college?
Phoenix.
Oh, Phoenix.
Well, yeah, St. Thomas is here.
I know. I thought you had a kid in school here.
No. I have one at Grand Canyon University. And I have one that's going to San Diego State in the fall.
Oh, cool.
Honors program.
Uh-huh.
So we could swing down early, hit Lake Powell, drop the one off, go drop the other one off.
You got to do Lake Powell. Bring everyone, though, because it's surreal.
You know what, though? Here's the deal I'll make. I'll go do it. I'll rent your 59-footer.
Okay.
But you got to come run my ice cream store for a week.
You know I would love that.
Good. I'll pencil you in.
Everyone in
Terry
Excelsior or whatever would be like, hey, Terry was the best ice cream guy. The Planet of the Apes. The Planet of the Apes was filmed there.
Oh, really?
So if you've seen the Planet of the Apes, you've seen these kind of humpy rocks.
Never seen it.
Yeah, it's
never seen it.
So I don't think I remember it, but I've seen pictures of it.
Where's Lake Powell from Lake Mead?
It's very similar in a sense, but Mead is closer to LA, I think, right?
I don't know.
Isn't Mead the one?
No,
yeah, Mead's the one.
Mead is south of Vegas.
Yeah, Mead is the one that the big Hoover Dam is on.
Right.
And this has a different dam. This is upstream towards the Grand
Here's another
Canyon.
caveat I'll throw at you.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine, Captain John,
Jack's brother.
runs Jeep safaris or Jeep excursions in Moab, in Utah.
More Western movies have been filmed there than anywhere.
And I think he drives boats on Lake Powell.
Yes, because Frog's Leap is over by Moab.
The wine?
No, that's another. You can rent your houseboat out of Frog's Leap.
Oh, Frog's
or
Leap's
Leapfrog.
a place.
I think it's Frog's Leap. Or
something.
Yeah, so you're going to see there's a couple places, but then you drive through Moab coming back.
I'm doing it.
You got it. You know that's the number one place in the world for water skiers, and you'll see it early morning. They're all out, and then they all disappear at 9 o'clock because they're early guys. And then
this is going to be the year we don't open the ice cream store, so I can do this little adventure.
You will not regret it.
I'll just leave it shut. This is the last year of family time. It's going to go away.
I did that twice out there, and we did lots of houseboat trips, and all I talk about now is going back out there as a family because it's.
How do you do that though? Your kids are old.
They'll do it. It's that cool.
Wow.
College
as
kids,
long as you're paying.
Right. But the college kids, it seriously is that cool. Let them bring friends. You will
Who's
not
paying
believe
for them.
Well, you pay for the boat, and then it's just food.
I don't think 60 feet's enough.
No, it's huge. There's enough to sleep like 15 people or something.
Really?
And they have their own bedrooms.
Yeah, but you know what? We just had a friend of the family who was not getting along with her family, and they had proposed that she stay with us for a while. And I'm like all for helping out, whatever. She's great, whatever. Then I'm like, it's going to screw up our little family dynamic.
It does too, doesn't
our pandemic dynamic we have going right now.
It does.
Where if I go all the way out there for going to houseboat, I don't want to deal with because they want to hang out with their friends.
And you like to walk around naked, and that would be uncomfortable.
That
Your
would be
kids
weird.
are used to it, yeah.
When I'm playing with my ball.
Yeah.
Practicing for the football season.
No, doing balls.
Oh, doing balls.
Yeah.
Doing balls. That's an edit. Doing balls. All right, sir. We've gotten to the end of another show here.
Sweet.
You're just the super fan. I love these stories about the football because you don't ever get to hear that side of it. You know, I would have never thought all those people are on the sidelines. I would have never thought there's no bathroom. Jesus. Stupid. But we will reconvene at another time. So thanks, Terry, again for coming in. And he will be back with us somewhere down the road, I'm sure. Maybe we'll bring a third partay in to make some more magic happen. So until then, everybody take care. Stay safe. Hopefully the pandemic is nearing the end. Everybody tune in next week for a little more DK Project. Take care.
Adios.
That's it. That's the end.
That's a wrap.
Read the shtick.
That's a wrap for today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe and tell all your friends. If you'd like to reach out, you can use the studio line at 612-504-6500 or by email, thedkprojectpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, there's always social media at the DK Project Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.